that's no good.
Hey everybody, Colton here, and Thunderbolts, man, really damn good movie, and you know me, I want to talk about that post-credit scene, how it ties into Avengers Doomsday, and of course, RDJ's Doctor Doom. So, let's step over here and talk about it. Alright, so, in the post-credit scene for Thunderbolts, we see the new Avengers in Avengers Tower, and we hear that they are having trouble maintaining their credibility as this new team and being accepted by the public as the Avengers because Sam Wilson, Captain America, is fighting them for the trademark to the name.
You know he's filed for copyright of the name?
Did he?
We're losing credibility.
There appears to be some clear tensions brewing between not only Yelena and the team with this new cap, but even between Bucky and Sam, two guys who were seemingly like best friends, like following Steve Rogers, going into the past, coming back old. It's still kind of up in the air if he's alive, I would assume, because we haven't seen a funeral. But anyway, in Brave New World, we saw that Sam and Bucky, they are still very close. Now, this tension with Sam and this new team of Avengers could stem from some of these characters, like John Walker specifically having troubled past and maybe not being the ideal team of Avengers. And I could easily see how that could create a divide between Sam and Bucky, being that Bucky doesn't have the cleanest past either. So anyway, after they move on from the dispute about the name, we hear them talk about this, quote, huge space crisis that is happening and that they are being left out of the loop on.
And now there's this huge space crisis and no one's telling us about it.
This is likely that of an incursion, a literal tear in the fabric of space and a collision between realities. We've seen these types of space tears in Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, the Marvels, and in the Secret Wars comics, incursions are the crisis that is occurring and is setting the stage for Battleworld and the emergence of Doctor Doom. So shortly thereafter, we hear that an extra-dimensional ship is entering the atmosphere.
Extra-dimensional ship entering atmosphere.
Extra-dimensional? What does that mean?
And it's the same rocket that we've seen in the Fantastic Four First Steps trailers. We even get a shot of the Fantastic Four logo on the side of the ship. Now, the most obvious meaning of this post-credit scene is that we are seeing the Fantastic Four, who, remember, are from a different universe than that of the mainline MCU. They are likely now entering that mainline MCU following the destruction of their own reality in their movie, which hasn't come out yet.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
So some are speculating that this kind of spoils the movie by confirming the popular fan theory that the Fantastic Four's universe dies and that they end up coming to the MCU at the end of that movie, setting up the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars. So we've seen in the trailers for Fantastic Four First Steps Reed's chalkboard featuring multiversal wormholes and portals and bridges between realities, as well as this line about Reed tampering with space-time.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Now, I'm beginning to wonder, what if, and hear me out, it's a little out there, but what if this isn't the Fantastic Four coming into the mainline MCU? What if that is not Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben on board that ship? What if we are getting a misdirect via this post-credit scene that makes us think that in the Fantastic Four movie, they escape their collapsing universe in that film, but what if that is not actually the case? What if on board this ship is the man himself, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom? I did a video a little while ago talking about a theory I had that Reed and the Fantastic Four failing to save their universe, and with the birth of their newborn son, Franklin, that they reluctantly could abandon ship, or rather get on a ship, and hightail it out of their universe before it dies. Now, in that theory I discussed that perhaps this will be the catalyst for the creation of RDJ's Doctor Doom, the event that makes him into a villain. Part of that theory was that in realities where Reed Richards, the smartest man alive, does not exist, that this guy is Tony Stark. But in realities where Reed does exist, this guy is Victor Von Doom. Similar to how, like with Loki, he was always destined to be a villain so that others could be heroes, even if Loki didn't want to be a villain. That was the story that was laid for him. Perhaps that's the role of this guy that we know as Tony Stark, but in realities where Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four exist, he has to play the role of the villain. But like I said, in realities without the Fantastic Four, like the mainline MCU, he is able to be the hero. Anyway, I speculated that in First Steps that we could see Reed's old rival, Victor, join him in their race against the clock to save their universe, but they ultimately fail, and Reed and the team decide to leave their universe, and they offer to bring Victor with them. And in that theory, I speculate that Victor is like, nah, fuck that, I'm not abandoning our world, and this whole situation makes Doom hate Reed even more because he thinks that Reed is a coward. Doom stays behind and ultimately witnesses the death of his universe as it collapses around him, but like in the comics, if Doom is a master of the mystic arts, he could save himself from death by separating from his physical body into his astral form. His physical body would die along with his universe, and essentially his soul would be adrift in the barriers of reality, and then he could dreamwalk into or possess the dead body of his variant self, Tony Stark, in the mainline MCU. But contrary to that whole theory in that video, what if instead of Doom being the more noble, I'll go down with the ship guy, while Reed pussyfoots out the back door, what if it's Reed and the Fantastic Four who refuse to leave and insist on staying to fight for their world till the bitter end, and it's old Tony Doom taking his shortcut, cutting the wire, not being a version of that character who learned his lessons in that cave and who made that sacrifice in Endgame. And so what if he is the one saying that we need to get out of this universe, there is no reason for us to stay and die? So like he tries to compel Reed to think about his newborn son, and then it is ultimately Victor who says, you know, screw it, he grabs the keys to the rocket and he gets the hell out of Dodge before the universe implodes. Maybe he even takes baby Franklin with him. And that could tie into Doom then using Franklin and his reality manipulation powers to conquer the multiverse and rebuild it in his image in Secret Wars. Franklin, of course, plays a huge part in the 2015 Secret Wars comics that the MCU is very likely adapting with the whole multiverse of it all. So anyway, it could be Doom who is on board this Fantastic Four ship making his way to Universe 616, not the Fantastic Four. And I mean, imagine how bizarre that would be. This extra dimensional ship lands on Earth, the new Avengers roll up to see who or what is on board, and out steps a guy that they know as Tony Stark, the OG Avenger whose former tower they are now living in. And with the new Avengers being desperate for validation, credibility, and acceptance as the new Avengers, what better way to do that than to have freaking Tony Stark from another universe as their team leader? That would definitely seal the deal on who the new Avengers are, at least in the public's eye. And it's been long rumored that with Dr. Doom sharing the face of Tony Stark, he'll take advantage of that fact and he'll form his own team of Avengers, loyalists, to fight this multiversal war the way that he sees fit. And we'll see another team of Avengers led by Sam Wilson, accompanied by the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, etc., teaming up to go against Doom. And as far as how the Fantastic Four survive, I mean, there's tons of ways. They could use Reed's multiversal bridge, perhaps, to escape to another universe via like an escape pod once they realize that Doom took off with Franklin. And maybe they wind up over in the X-Men universe that Monica Rambeau and Deadpool and Wolverine are all in. But back to Doom. Imagine this island of misfit toys, the Thunderbolts. I mean the new Avengers who have dark pasts and are just now learning to accept themselves, and they want to be these public-facing heroes. What if RDJ's Doom is able to appeal to them and say that he knows what it's like to be the underdog from all of his years living in the shadow of Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four? He also knows what it's like to have a dark side, and we could then see this well-meaning team who has felt left out of what the hell is going on in space join forces with Doom, who knows all about incursions and was actually on the brink of solving them. And so they join Doom in what they think is a fight for the greater good. And this more violent, willing to kill, short-tempered assortment of characters could easily fall on the side of having to kill the other universe to save their own. That universe likely being that of the Fox X-Men universe. Now, meanwhile, Sam and his Avengers, who were already at odds with the new Avengers, they'll be on the side of finding another way out that doesn't involve destroying another reality. And Sam's refusal to work with the Misfits could be the first wedge in their relationship that allows for this giant break in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Now, I have a lot more that I want to say, but I'm going to save it for my coverage of this great movie over on Screen Crush, so be sure to go follow me there as well. But I gotta say, I love being able to do these more extravagant, like a little bit out there theories here on the personal channel with you guys, so be sure to follow me here as well, and let me know, do you think Dr. Doom is on board that ship? Is this his big debut in the MCU? And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. I've been Colton Ogburn, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.